welcome to KristenKellyTV. I am going to be doing a life update video. If it's something you'd like to watch, please continue. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's get into it. Okay. First of all, hello everyone. I missed you guys so much. Hi. Okay, so what is on this? Is that makeup? Of course it is. What else would it be? My life's a shit show. Okay, so I have not filmed in like a month, and I wanted to go over why I have not filmed in pretty much a month. Go over some stuff. I'm gonna like lightly touch on a bunch of very serious subjects, which I'm probably going to make other videos about in the future. I just have a huge project due for school that I need to do. A lot of you have been messaging me on Snapchat that I haven't been posting, so you were worried about me and just wanted to say hi. So I'm doing this video, and then I'm gonna have to do other videos later. So this video on its own is gonna be pretty long, so I'm gonna touch on other things, but I will make like other videos about these other subjects. I love cold brew. Okay, so the last time I posted was about my belt that I got for my birthday. So that was like a really long time ago. So a bunch of things happened. Like one thing happened, I thought that I was being kicked out of school. So, well, not kicked out. Okay, so my school has this rule that if by this time, okay, so this really, there's so much to talk about. You know, there's just so much to talk about. I'm like, where do I start? Okay, so pretty much we have this teacher who's like the dean of students. She comes into class and she does like all this stuff. Like she reads us this poem about like Indians, and she makes us all like stand in a line and like touch each other's backs, and she's like, your feet are planted to the ground and your spine is to the sky, and like all this kumbaya stuff. So she does all this stuff, and we're all like, oh, like feeling good. We sit down, and then she's like, okay, and if any of you are, oh, my skin is really dry. I don't have any moisturizer in here. I'm gonna put a primer on. The Too Faced Hangover Primer is really good as a moisturizer if you don't have a moisturizer handy, because it's got coconut in it. So she does all of this like kumbaya stuff, and then she's like, okay, yeah, so if any of you have missed more than 30 hours by this point, you are going to leave this class and you're going to be put into a different class. Meaning that like you might start class in another month, 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, depending on like where there's a class, where your schedule fits in, but pretty much meaning like if you've missed more than 30 hours at this point, you have to leave class pretty much. And then she leaves the room. So she like comes in, does this kumbaya thing, and then she's like, okay, so if any of you have missed more than 30 hours by this point, you are going to pretty much be kicked out of class. All right, bye, and then leaves. And then our two teachers, we have two teachers. One of them is like, she's like more strict, and the other one is in my opinion like more nice. Like she's more realistic. Like I feel like sometimes teachers feel like they have to be kind of strict, and I feel like she's more like realistic of like, we're human beings, you know, and we're not in high school. So they're both like, okay, so yeah, we're gonna get into extractions today, and we're all like, what? So I'm like, excuse me, 30 hours? Because in your mind you think 30 hours is a big number, but we go to school for 20 hours a week. So if you have missed like 7 days, that's 30 hours pretty much. Like if you've missed a week and a half, that's 30 hours. So I was like, I was like really good and I didn't miss any school, but then Chris got stabbed, which I'm gonna talk about in a second. So Chris got stabbed. So because of Chris getting stabbed, I actually missed school. So I was like, wait. So if we have missed over a week and a half, we need to leave the class, and like we have to like start a different program. And honestly, it's just like, for me getting my esthetician license is the most important thing in my life, besides Chris and besides the kids, Mochi and Yuki. If you don't know me, I have 2 dogs, Mochi and Yuki. So besides, and Chris is my life partner. So besides Chris Mochi and Yuki, like, they are my life, and then school. Like, my education is so important to me. Like, I have wanted to be a licensed esthetician forever. Like, skincare, first of all, has always been my greatest passion. And on top of skincare being my greatest passion, I've always loved everything to do with skin. Personally, for me, the reason I did not start esthetician school sooner was that I was having a lot of issues. I was having, when I was living in Los Angeles, I was having like a tremendous amount of emotional and mental issues. Now I'm on a really good antidepressant, but I was not for a really long time. And I have post-traumatic stress, and my post-traumatic stress was so bad that it was and my anxiety was crippling at sometimes, and I couldn't focus on like simple tasks, and my anxiety kind of like went through waves as I progressed in life. Like, when I was younger and I was in college, when I went to college, I really didn't care about anything I was studying. But I felt like I had to be in college because everyone was like, gotta go to college, gotta go to college. I really didn't apply myself. I really didn't even like look for a job in that field when I got out. I went through a few interviews and that was it, but I really didn't care. It wasn't like I was really passionate about it. For me, skincare is something I'm actually so passionate about. And when she said that, and I'm not a crier. Okay, so when Chris got stabbed, I didn't even cry. Like, I'm not a crier. I've always been super independent. I went to boarding school at the age of 13, so like I'm really independent, and I'm very I don't cry. Like, I really don't. Like, it's like, I have friends that they cry about everything. They cry when they're happy, they cry when they're sad. For me, it's like, if I cry, like, you know it's a serious situation, because for me, I tend to always be like the stronger person so other people can cry, you know, like if something's happening, I'm more so like the person people like lean on. So I go back to my seat, and then and the teacher's talking, and I just like, and she's like, well, if there's extending circumstances, like if something happened, like if you are a caretaker, and she's like, and this doesn't mean if you're a parent. So like my friend in class, she's a parent, and her daughter's husband is dead, or I mean her daughter's father is dead, so it's like she really is her child's only caretaker. And she's like, well, it actually doesn't matter if you are a parent and you're like the only parent, like you have to be like a caretaker of like an elder, because you can get like daycare, like you have to be a daycare. So she's like pretty much telling us all of this crazy information, and we started in January, so we're already like 5 months into school. And then to say pretty much like, if you've missed 30 hours that you're, you know, gonna have to go to a different class. So I was like, look, my boyfriend got stabbed, and the teacher was like, the more strict one was like, well, that's extremely personal information, and I'm really sorry about that. And I'm like, thank you. I'm like, but he got stabbed, I didn't. So how, because she's like, oh, well, if you can like prove that something, like you had to go to court, or if you were in the hospital or something. I'm like, well, I was there with him, but I physically was not stabbed. So how do I get documentation of that, you know? So I just immediately burst into tears. Like I was a water balloon and someone like poked me with like a needle. I just burst into tears, because they also wouldn't tell us our hours. So she was like, kumbaya, blah blah blah, do the massage, blah blah blah, if you've missed 30 hours, you're gonna be kicked out of school, and then leaves the room. And then our other teacher's like, okay, we're gonna do this. And I was like, wait, so you're not gonna tell us our hours? She goes, no, we're gonna do them at the end of class. No, she goes, oh, and this is on Friday, so this is Friday, so this is like right before the weekend. And she's like, if you are somebody who has gone over 30 hours, you'll get a note from the dean of students, and that's how you'll know. So we wouldn't even know at that point in time. So you're saying like huge bombshell, and then on top of huge bombshell, you're not gonna find out, and it's a Friday. So, and we have like this huge project due on Monday, which is tomorrow, which I'm gonna do after I film this. So it's like, it was just like crazy. It was like, what? And on top of that, like, I did a test that day, and then like a makeup test, and then the day before that I did another makeup test because I had failed another test. So I'm like already like literally just struggling so hard. Okay, so then, because 30 hours is not long, so then the other teacher who's nicer, who's like more understanding, she goes and gets our times and hands them out to everybody, and she's like, okay, the last page has how many hours cumulatively that you have missed. So I look at mine and it says 32. So to me, 32 is over 30 hours. So if you've missed 30 hours, you're out of class. So I look at it and I see 32, and in my mind I'm just numb, because 32 is over 30. So I'm gonna have to leave school. So my teacher comes over and she points, and like I make up hours all the time. So like we can make up hours before school, we can make up hours after school. I make up hours all the time. Like if I miss a class, I am there. Like last week, I was there almost every day making up class, like making up time after. Like I am constantly on top of making up time and being after school, and like I'm really committed to this. So, and all my friends were like, no, like you make up time all the time. I'm like, it doesn't matter how much time you've made up. It's the accumulative of how many hours you have missed. So my teacher comes over, like the nicer one, and she looks at it, and I like point to it, and she goes, oh. And I'm like, but you said 30. She's like, that's not a big enough number. So I guess 32 is, I guess 30 is a very blurred line, because I'm thinking 30, like I see 32 and I'm like, well then I'm out. Anything over 30, to me, anything over, if someone says to me, if you have missed more than 30 hours, doesn't matter if you've made it up, you're out of school. To me, that means 30 hours. No, apparently 32 is fine. So I guess it's a blurry line. But then like all these other people were crying because like one of my best friends, she has already missed 57 hours, and you can't miss 60 hours altogether in the entire program. So she actually dropped out. One of my other best friends, she's at 47 hours. There's another girl in the class who was at like 50 hours. There's another girl in the class who was at like 40 hours. There's just a lot of people who had missed a lot of time. There's actually somebody who was not in school that day who misses all the time, so I'm like, that person definitely is out. I don't know. But it was really confusing. Everybody was really confused because we all were under the impression that if you missed a day and you made up that time, that you would be fine, but apparently no. Okay. So, also with school's been really difficult, so I'm dyslexic, and I have like a really bad time taking tests, and I have a really bad, there's just, like, dyslexia is different. If you don't know what dyslexia is a learning disability. When I was little, they would say a learning difference because they wanted to make us feel okay about it, but it really is a disability. It's, there's certain things that I'm never going to be amazing at, and there's certain things that, I mean, there's certain things none of us are ever going to be, you know, like, really good at. You know, like, life isn't 100% fair all the time. I am really not good at spelling, and I'm pretty good at reading now, but there still is a lot of stuff that I have, like, issues with. And, like, I get confused over, like, I get confused, I think, more easily than other people do. Like, some people with dyslexia, like, they can't comprehend things. Like, they can read perfectly, and they'll read, like, an entire book without making a mistake, but they can't remember any of it. Like, I can remember things, but I get kind of confused, and I think it's because I'm not an amazing reader, and not, like, an amazing speller. Because, so, a lot of the things that I get confused about is that we have this class called theory. And theory, practical is, like, hands-on stuff, like, things to do with the skin, but, like, theory is, like, right now we are doing, like right now we're learning everything that like a dermatologist pretty much learns. But before that, like we have to learn like the human body, and we have to learn different things. Like there's a technical term for everything. Like there's a technical term for goosebumps. There's a technical term for itching. There's a technical term for redness. There's a technical term for everything. And there's also many layers of the skin. There's many different parts of the human body. There's a lot of different parts of just the cellular structure of skin, of every, like, being an esthetician is essentially not only, like, I think people are kind of confused because, like, even my mother was like, oh, well, you do makeup. It's like, a lot of people, they don't go to dermatologists. They don't. And they don't go to doctors, and they're either scared or they can't afford it. So a lot of times, like, your esthetician really is somebody who you can go to, you can talk to, and they can diagnose something that maybe your doctor would not see because it wouldn't take the time, or maybe you just haven't been to your doctor, you know? So for me personally, I am very dedicated to knowing everything about, like, disease of the skin. Like, I want to know what every type of cancer looks like. I want to know what every type of condition looks like. I am really dedicated to that. But that is something that we do have to learn. But on top of that, we are learning so much. Like, there's so many scientific things. Like it's like we're learning to be doctors almost, which I knew that we were going to be learning the human body. And I knew that there was a lot of science to be an esthetician. I did not realize, I guess, how much science there is and how quickly, paced, like, we would be learning. Like, there's, okay, so we just had a test, and the test was 50 questions. And I am telling you, I thought that I aced this test. It was all about the different glands in the human body. So we have different glands. We're born with we're born with all of our glands, but a lot of them don't start until we hit puberty. So there's different glands that do different things, and we had this test, and it was about the glands, and it was about skin, the layers of the skin. It was about, there was just a bunch of different things, and I was like, I aced. Sorry, you can hear the washing machine. I was like, I aced this test. I got it back. I got a 75. So I didn't fail, but I got like a C. So I think I got 13 questions wrong, and I couldn't believe that I got 13 questions wrong because I really thought I aced this test. But then when I was looking at the questions, I knew all of the answers. It was just the way that question was phrased, I got confused about. So I definitely see when I am doing tests, or when I look back at stuff that I thought that I did really well at, when I don't do well, I definitely see the fact that the reason why I didn't do well, I got confused. And even my teacher said to me, I know that you know the answers, but I can tell that you're getting confused of how things are worded. And I do have to say that me being dyslexic, I never experienced this in college. I never experienced it in high school either, because my high school was specifically for people that had learning disabilities. I never experienced it's almost like I feel like my teacher's trying to trick me sometimes when she does the test, which, I mean, you know, she has to. It's like, that's, I guess, how people do testing. But I've never been more happy about the fact that I went to a specialized high school, because it's so difficult. Alright, so other than school, I went to Los Angeles, and Chris and I went to LA. We were there for 7 days, I believe. We got my car. So my car from LA, we got it shipped here, which was only $1,000. I could not believe, because when I got my other car shipped like 10 years ago, it was $4,000 to get it shipped across country. It was only $1,000 to get it shipped across country, and it took 6 days. It was so fast, and it was so cheap. I couldn't believe how cheap it was. Yeah, so if you want to ship a car across country, definitely, don't be like me, because I really was like, I'm just going to sell it. But then I couldn't find the deed. When I was looking at selling it on CarMax was, I believe that they wanted to give me like $4,000 or something, because CarMax is going to give you the absolute lowest, and the car literally is worth like $20,000 if I was just going to sell it. So I got it shipped here, so I'm really excited about that. What else? We stayed in an Airbnb, and the Airbnb, honestly, I had never done Airbnb before, and I don't think I'll ever do it again. We stayed in this really nice guest house in the Hollywood Hills. It was on Mount Olympus. It was beautiful, but the people who owned the actual house, like the guest house and the main house, were like connected, and it was a gay guy, and he played like crazy club music like really late into the night. And Chris and I are not party people. Like, we don't go out. Like, we're too grown for that. So we were like sleeping in bed, and there was like pounding music, and we felt very weird. Like, we felt weird messaging the guy like, hey, there's like club music, and it's, you know, it's only 10 o'clock at night, but we're trying to go to sleep, because we're also like on a different time zone. So, and we felt weird about like things like towels. Like, I asked him, like, Chris has super long hair, so we asked for extra towels, and every time we take a shower, like, we both use a towel for our body, our hair. Like, Chris bathes and I bathe, and like, he washes his hair so much. Like, so I was like, hey, can we get some more towels? And the guy was like, oh, there should be extra towels. I'm like, went through those towels. Like, I wouldn't be asking for extra towels if we had towels. So I felt weird. There's actually like way more to go with the whole Airbnb thing, which I can do another story about if you guys want me to. Yeah, there was like all these weird rules, and like, I don't know. So I'll do another story about the Airbnb if you guys want me to. Tell me below. Okay, and then Chris got stabbed, so that was crazy. Right before we left for LA, I had school, so I was sleeping, and Chris and his friend came home, and he was, pretty much what happened was he was stabbed. Such a long story. I need to do another story time about this. If you guys want me to do a story about Chris being stabbed, let me know. I'm sure you do. Okay, so Chris got stabbed. All of this stuff came with him being stabbed. So he was in the hospital. I had to take care of him. I missed school. And then we immediately went to LA. So I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to go to LA. I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to make it to LA, but we did. So that was really crazy because we had to fly, you know, across country with him. He's 6'6", almost like 6'7", and his, you know, he had stitches. I had to take out his stitches in LA because he had them for a week. It was a really long story. I'll do a story time for you guys about the whole stabbing incident, because it was crazy. But pretty much it was like a road rage thing. So that happened, and then we went to LA, we came back. I just had school. I had school. The weather here has been crazy. It was like raining and snowing and just really nuts. And now the weather's actually good, so I can actually like go out and do things. But school is crazy. I am like really, really looking forward to school being over. I'm so tired all the time, and I'm just so drained. Oh, but I did see Amber in LA. That was really fun. Amber Mead. I was like really happy to see her. And then my best friend Gian, Camila Cabello he's Camila Cabello's manager. So he just came to town with Camila, and that was really fun because I got to see him, and I brought a bunch of my friends with me to the concert, and that was really good. And Chris brought a bunch of his friends, and Chris is doing fine, by the way, since the stabbing. He's healed. I mean, honestly, he acted like nothing happened after he got stabbed. It was crazy. Like, there were so many crazy things that happened. Okay, so I really need to do this school project. I love you guys so much, and I will be sure to film something like within the next like week, hopefully. Don't hold me to that. All right, I love you. Bye.